So we just reviewed substitution. Elimination is another method of solving systems. So it's like another tool in your toolbox. And they are what they sound like. Like substitution, we took something and substituted it in. Elimination means you're going to eliminate one variable by adding the two equations together. I actually like this method better. I think it's easier. You'll have to let me know what your opinion is. But you're going to add the two equations together and eliminate one of them. So you're going to look for or create additive inverses. Additive inverses. And if you're like, what on earth are those? I've got you. I'm about ready to explain it.
Thanks.
It means that the two items will cancel out. So for an additive inverse, they're just going to be opposite signs. So for example, 2x and negative 2x. Do you see how those would cancel or eliminate? So over here, let's just practice real quick finding an additive inverse. If you have a negative 4y, what's going to have to be here to make it eliminate? Positive 4y. I know, like, it's really difficult, right? 7x would need negative 7x. 5x would need negative 5x. And then this would need to be a positive 2y, okay? Now, if there isn't one there, you need to manipulate the equations to create one, okay? And then you're going to solve for the remaining variable. That was like when we did the warm-up and we found y equals -1. Substitute it back in to one of the other I would say, original equations. Use one of the original equations to find the other variable. And then how do we write our answer?
I'm not sure.
An ordered pair.
I'm sure.
Now these first couple, I set it up so that something would just eliminate. You're not going to have to manipulate the equation. So just, you have to be a good noticer. And in order to be a good noticer, you have to calm down. You can't notice things if you're spazzing out all over the place, okay? So look at example 1. Which variable is going to eliminate, x or y? The y's. Okay, so look, you're just going to add these together and the y's are going to eliminate. That's why I like this method better. I think it's a little easier. That's always a personal preference thing. But when you add these together, 4x plus 3x will give you 7x. The y's are gone, so just equals 21. And then what would you do to keep solving that for x? Divide by 7. You get x equals 3. Good job. So you found x, you still need y. So use one of the original equations, and I would just use the first one for no other reason than it's the first one. You're going to take 3 and plug it back in for x. So you're going to have 4 times 3 minus 2y equals 10. Hold on a second. Let me address the questions. Go ahead, Seth.
I thought we were done.
No, you need both x and y. Go ahead. What is your question? 4 times 3 is 12 minus 2y equals 10. And then what? You want y by itself. Not add 12. Yep. Subtract 12. Negative 2y equals -2. Divide by -2. Oh, why is it +1? Now you have to write it as an ordered pair, and it's x comma y, so don't get it backwards. It would be 3 comma 1. And if you graph them, that's what they would intersect.
I feel like Albert Einstein would do that.
Okay, so look at example 2. Which variable, x or y, is going to eliminate? Do you see the x's, 5x and -5x?
Yes.
All right, so you're just going to add these together. The x's are going to go away. So when you add the other columns, what do you get for the y's?
I don't know.
Good. -3y equals -3. -35 plus 32. Again, on a test, you'd have a calculator. I just like them put away while I'm teaching. Divide by -3 and you get y equals 1. Plug it back into the original equation, one of them, and I would just use the first one. We're going to plug y is 1 right here. Do you see where I'm pointing? 1 is going to get plugged in right there. So 5x minus 5 times 1 equals negative 35. So 5 times 1 is just 5. And I'm writing out every single last little step here. If you were comfortable doing that in your head, that's okay. What would you do next? Like, keep going. You want to find x now. Add 5. Good. That'll give you 5x equals negative 30. Divide by 5. Good. You get negative 6. You have to write it as an ordered pair, and it has to be x comma y. So just be careful and don't, you're going to be bummed if you do it backwards, right? Just pay attention. It'll be what comma what? Right. So if you wrote 1 comma negative 6, I'd have to take off for that. So just be careful. Now let's try one more. This time we're going to have to manipulate the equations in order to make something eliminate. Because do you see how it doesn't as it is right now? But which variable would be easiest? Because you want to work smarter, not harder. With x, x would be easier because you see how they're both 2? I just need one of them to be a 2, and I need the other one to be negative 2. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Look, we're going to leave the first one alone. Literally, just recopy it. Work with me. Just recopy that exactly like it looks. We're not going to change that one. It stayed the same. Hey, Miss Cole, it looks like you just rewrote the thing. Sure did. The other one, you're going to take the whole thing and multiply it by a negative 1. Wow. Everything is going to switch signs. Just going to negate. Negative 2x plus 7y equals positive 15. And now, do you see how they will eliminate when you add them together? So sometimes if it isn't set up for you, you have to adjust it.
So if we're gonna manipulate it,
yeah, you would basically just rewrite it. And like this one, we had to multiply it by a negative 1. Sometimes you might need to multiply by a different number. I have other examples on the other side where I'll show you that. But you figure out how you want to adjust it. And look, now it's going to work. These go away or eliminate. What do you get for the y? Close. 12y equals 12. That's a negative 3 there. And so you get y equals 1. We aren't done. Let me clarify that because some of you thought we were done in the other problem. What do we still need to get? X. You're going to plug in 1 for y, and I would use the original first equation. It actually doesn't matter, but just go for the first one. You're going to plug in 1 for y right there. So it'll be 2x plus 5 times 1 is just 5. We'll go ahead and just write it that way. And some of you are paying attention, but not writing it down. On the test, you're going to have to write it down. You have to. I can't give credit for what you do in your head. Subtract 5 because my telepathy is not working. It's been broken for a while. So 2x equals what? Careful because those are both negative. Negative 8. Divide by 2. What's x? Close. Negative 4. And you have to write your answer as an ordered pair. It would be what, comma, what? Negative 4, comma, 1. Are we okay so far? Or are there any questions I can clarify before you get your head up? We'll do our 2-minute break and then we'll practice a couple more.
Yes.
So for the ones on this side, we're again going to have to manipulate the equation to make it work out. And you want to go for what's easiest. So look at number 4. Would it be easier to eliminate x or eliminate y? It would be easier to do x because do you see how, or no, not x. I'm sorry. Yeah, it would be easier to do y. Sorry, what am I talking about?
Disagree.
Do you see how this is negative 2y? What would you need this one to be? Positive 2y. So what would I multiply the first equation by to make that Good. You're gonna multiply the first equation by a 2. Here's the question I always get asked. Miss Colt, pick up that one. Where did the 2 come from? They want to know where it came from because they don't see it anywhere on the paper.
The bank.
It came from our brains. We came up with it. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? We looked at it and we figured out, because we're smart, what number it needed to be
Some
to
of
make
us.
it work. So you have to come up with that on your own. It's not on the paper.
I think I'm one of
All right, just, I need for you to calm down. Yes, because it will make this a positive 2y and then this is a negative 2y and then they'll eliminate, okay? So if we distribute a 2 through this first equation, what will we get?
4x.
4x plus 2y equals 10. The other equation, you don't have to do anything to. Now, sometimes you do have to manipulate both of them, okay? But in this case, you don't. So just literally copy it. Just copy it over. Literally just copy it. That's it. And do you see how now it's going to work?
I do.
Okay. So when we add these together, the y's are going to eliminate. What do we get for the x's?
7.
7x equals 14.
Divides 14 by 7.
Divide by 7. X equals 2. We're not done. What do we still need?
Y.
You still need y. You're going to plug 2 back in for x. I would use the original first equation. This one right here. Do you see what I'm pointing to?
I see that.
Okay. You're going to plug 2 in for x. So it will be 2 times 2 plus y equals 5. And yes, 2 times 2 will be 4. And if you're comfortable doing that part in your head, then that's fine. And then subtract 4. What do you get for y? Y equals 1. You have to write it as an ordered pair.
2, 1.
2, 1.
You're welcome.
Now, when you look at this one, you're going to have to manipulate both of the equations. In this case, it actually won't matter if we eliminate x or y. It's not going to make a difference. Do you want to eliminate x or do you want to eliminate y?
Plus. No, X looks nicer.
We'll get rid of x, okay? So look, it's not going to make a difference. When you look at the x's, 1 is 3 and 1 is 5. If you use your mind to come up with this, you have to have some number sense. You could turn them both into 15. Well, you need one of them to be 15 and one of them to be negative 15. Okay. So the first one, we're going to multiply by 5. And let's just see what happens. We're going to multiply the first one by 5. Where did the 5 come from? Us, our brain. You have to come up with that. It's not on the paper anywhere. If you distribute a 5, that'll give you 15x plus 15y equals 45. So what number do you have to multiply the second equation by to make it be a negative 50? You would have to multiply by negative 3. We're going to distribute that through them. Again, you have to come up with that. That's not anywhere on the paper. Like that comes from your mind and you just have to have some number sets. When you distribute the negative 3, it'll be negative 15x minus 12y equals negative 30. And now when you add them together, it will work. So if it doesn't work, you have to manipulate it so that it will work. Did you get that right now? Okay. X's cancel. What do you get for the y's? All right, 3y, good, equals 15. Divide by 3. Y is 5. You still need x. So you're going to plug in 5 for y. I would use the very first original equation, this one right here.
I agree.
It won't matter, so just use the first one. So it'll be 3x plus 3 times 5, which will be 15. If you're comfortable doing that in your head, then that's fine. It's just I'm teaching the problem to everybody, so I'm going to write it down every little step. So 3 times 5 will be 15. And then you just solve that for x. So minus 15.
No.
Yeah, negative 6. You were right. Good. So -2. And then lastly, you just have to write it as an ordered pair. Just don't do it backwards. Because if you write 5, comma, -2, I'm going to have to mark that wrong. It's -2, comma, 5. It's x, comma, y. No. All right. Let's try a couple more. These are going to be our special cases ones, just as a heads up. Do you want to eliminate x or y? It actually won't make a difference in this one because we're going to have to change both of them.
Why? Because they're both the order. Why is definitely easy.
No, it's not. All you would have to do is you would have to.
I changed my mind.
We'll do x.
Yeah. Actually,
What do you want to turn both? What do you want to turn both of these into to make them eliminate? One's a 2 and one's a 3. You could turn them both into 6. So what are we going to multiply the first equation by? 3. Good. Where'd the 3 come from? Our brains. Okay. Hold on. We're just not there yet.
Where's the 2 come from?
When you distribute the 3, that is going to give you 6x plus 12y equals 3. Now, what would you multiply the second equation by?
2.
Not 2, -2. Distribute a -2 through there. You want one of them to be plus 6x and one of them to be minus 6x. So this will give you -6x minus 12y equals, what is that? -10. Hold up, hold up. Let me keep everybody together. So the x's cancel, but I think this is what you guys are noticing. What's going to happen to the y? They cancel too, so what's left over here is nothing. So you get 0 equals -7. Does that make any sense?
No.
So your answer is no solution. And if you graphed these, they would be parallel lines. They're not going to intersect. I'm gonna try it one more time. Do you want to try and get rid of x or do you want to try and get rid of y? We'll do x. Okay. Actually, x will be easier because if this one's 4, we can make this one be -4 and then we don't have to change the second equation. So it'll actually be easier. So what are we going to multiply the first equation by? -2. Where'd that come from? Us. You have to think about it and figure out what's going to work. So if you distribute a -2, you will get -4x and then what? Plus 6y, negatives cancel, equals -12. The other equation you don't have to change, so literally just copy it. Like, don't do anything, just copy it.
This is one. This is the
Hold on. So what do you notice is happening here? Everything cancels. You get 0 equals 0. So it's infinite solutions or infinitely many. Hold on. Let me answer questions. Go ahead. It just depends on what the equation looks like. We only had to adjust the first one in this case because when we made that a -4x, this is already a positive 4x, so I didn't have to change that one. In these others, we had to manipulate both of them. If you can get away with only manipulating one of them, do that though, because it's less work. But it kind of just depends on how it's set up. So if you get something that makes sense, it's all the answers in the whole world. If you get something that doesn't make sense, it's no solution. Now we're going to practice setting these up. This is what we struggled with last time, so let's practice setting them up. Read the first one. I just want everyone to be quiet and read it. I don't want to read it to you because that will teach you not to read. I want everyone to read it and see if you can come up with the 2 things that are going on. All right, can anyone tell me what the two things are?
The senior citizens.
All right, we have seniors and what else?
Child.
Child, write that down. X equals Y equals. Now you have to set up two equations. So how much do the senior citizens tickets, or how many senior citizen tickets, I guess, did they sell?
6.
The first day,
3.
3 senior citizen tickets. So that would be 3x, good. Plus, how many child tickets did they sell?
1.
1 child ticket, so 1Y, or just Y, equaled how much money? 38. 3 senior and 1 child was a total of 38. Now, the next day it was 52. It was 3 seniors, so that would be 3x plus what? 2y, are you seeing this? 2y equals, how much money was that one? Now, we've already solved a lot of these today, so I'm going to let us use the calculator. Let me show you how this works, because this is really cool. I'm going to come over here to the graphing calculator and type in the first one. What was it? 3x plus 1y equals 38. Bless you. And then I'm going to type in the other one. 3x plus 2y equals 52. Now I'm going to have to find those over here. Oh my gosh, where's the answer? It's where they do what? Do you see that? 8 comma 14. What was X? Was X senior or child? So senior is 8 and child is 14. And I think this was the price, right? So can you slap a dollar sign in front of those $8 and $14? Cash money. Go ahead. I'm sorry, say that again. It depends on what the directions say. If the directions say solve by substitution, you have to solve it by substitution. If they say solve by elimination, you have to solve by elimination. You can always use this to check your work though. Now, if it doesn't say, then yes, please type it in the calculator. Let's try another one. I'm going to pause. I want you to read. All right, do you know what the two items are? What do we have?
School A, school B, and buses.
I think it's vans and buses, right? Let's make X be vans and Y be buses. So here's where our numbers start in here. 8 vans. So that's going to be 8x, good, plus 8y equals 240. And then we're going to do the other one. 4x, good, plus 1y equals 54. And then let me go over to the calculator and I will type them in. Just watch. You get rid of these ones. What is it? 8x plus 8y equals 240. And then the other one is 4x plus 1y equals 54. You see that? 822. What was X though and what was Y? Because you have to remember. So vans and buses. So a van holds 8 people, a bus holds 22. So X equals 8 people in a van. Yeah, 8 people per van. Y is 22 people in a bus. And that would make sense. A bus would hold more people.